G'day guys, Daniel here and welcome back to First Class Motorcycles. Today I'm going to be showing you the 2025 R3. Now this thing is an absolute weapon. It's one of my favourite learner approved bikes we have here down at First Class. So yeah, I'm going to jump right into it, but we'll start off with the looks and the sort of visual features you can see. Now this has been redone a little bit in 2025. It's a super sport sort of design, sort of to match the R7s and the R1s, which I think looks absolutely awesome. You've got that sort of full fairing look all the way down with your bars kind of tucked underneath the visor, which also helps with aerodynamics. It's very wind resistant when riding, especially when you're tucked. This front visor really does help with the wind preventative when you're riding, which is really cool. And just as a sort of general look, I think it looks absolutely amazing. So one of the new improvements that have been made by Yamaha is up the front here. You have the new headlight. It's a full LED with some LED daytime running lights, which look really good, but also is super bright and super visible at night time, which is really handy. You've also got all the LED indicators. They have been redone, which was very necessary, and now looks really good, really ties in the bike, in my opinion. But yeah, actually looks really good at the moment from Yamaha. Now another good thing about this bike is just how easy it is to sit on and how easy it is to start learning on. It has a 30.7 seat height, which is really easy to start learning on. Me as a 5'10", really tall bloke, I can sit in it and be completely flat-footed, which is really nice when learning how to ride, and especially when you're putting your feet down a lot and just getting the feel for a motorcycle when you're first starting off. So now we've talked a little bit about the looks, now it's time to talk about the heart of the bike, the motor. Now this is a 321cc inline liquid cooled Yamaha motor. Absolutely bulletproof, super fun, not super quick, but very quick in the scheme of things, but super reliable and just an absolute beast of a motor. Now this motor punches out a whopping 42 ponies at 10,750 RPM. And a really fun thing about this bike is that it revs all the way out to redline at 12,000 RPM, which means you can absolutely ride this thing super hard to your heart's content. It is an absolute ball to jump on and ride. Now to power that, up the top here you have a 14 litre fuel tank, which gives you a rough range of about 330 kilometres, which is plenty of time to get up to the twisties and have an absolute ball. Now, I did want to mention a little bit about the clutch. They have a really good clutch in these bikes. They have a slippery clutch, which is really useful when learning how to ride, as it assists in helping you downshift and rev match a little bit better. But then also, it's a lot smoother when you're trying to use your engine braking, not as jolty. And good thing about the R3 is that it does still have the standard heavy clutch springs in it, which I know a lot of other sort of LAMS approved bikes have those lighter ones to kind of accommodate. But they do wear out quickly, where the R3 does not, which means your clutch will have a really good life, but still be super easy to ride and super easy to use. Now let's actually talk about riding these things. Now I got to take this for an absolute rip, a bit of a test ride, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm a fully licensed rider, but jumping onto this LAMS bike, I still had an absolute ball riding it. I just found that how Yamaha have made the chassis on this thing is just, it's perfect. It's low enough where you don't feel cramped and sort of pushed up against yourself, but it's also not too long where you feel stretched out. Which also means that when you're riding it, you can really easily just flick it over and go around corners really nicely, and it just feels really light and well balanced. It is a light bike, but when you're on it, it feels even lighter. And for a new rider, that is a really nice thing to do. and to have that option to just be able to ride a bike that's well balanced and light. Now another reason why these bikes ride so well is I think the suspension on these Yamaha have really hit it on the head. They've got a upside down fork up front with 5.1 inches of treble, and the rear they just have a single shock with 4.9, but they're not too stiff, not too soft in the springs, which means you can take it to the track and still have an absolute rip, but when you're out in the hills hitting those potholes, which we know Victoria does have, you're not just bouncing straight off the bike. It does absorb it a little bit. And also when you're riding it, the 6-speed gearbox in this thing is really nice. It means when you are wanting to really rip it up in the twisties, you can really ring this thing out to 12,000 RPM. But when you are on a bit more of a highway cruise, you're doing those higher speeds, the 6-speed just gives you that extra gear to sit comfortably at 100, 85 to 100 with only the bike revving about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, which is really nice, which means you can just cruise really nicely on this thing and it's not always just ringing. Now it does have a little bit less horsepower than some of the other learner improved bikes. Like I did say, it does have 42 horsepower, but I don't see that really as a downside with everything else that this bike is. Yeah, it might be not as fast in a drag, but what you're really using it for is learning how to ride and also cornering, and this bike just does both of those really well. It's really nice to corner, really nice to ride, and yeah, it may feel like it has a bit less in the straights, but when you're riding everywhere else, it feels just as good, if not better, than the other bikes on the market. Now the seating position of this bike is quite comfortable. As I said, I'm a 5'10" guy, but when I'm sitting on the bike I am quite flat-footed, which is really nice, and when I'm cruising it does feel really comfy. I feel very upright and I feel like I have a lot of control of the motorcycle. When I do want to just really give it, I can lean in, and my legs are quite nicely bent, not uncomfortable, not too dragged in, but you can tuck a little bit to give that bit more of a sporty sort of ride feel, which does also feel really good. And the bike just sits really nicely between your legs. They're really designed it well. The seats are perfect width. It's not too fat. It's also not too skinny where you're going to be uncomfortable. And for about the hour and a bit I did ride this bike, I wasn't uncomfortable at the end of it, which is a great sign when riding that, especially for those longer rides, you want to be comfy for the whole thing. Another good thing about these 25 models is that it does come with Yamaha's Y Connect, which means you can see what's going on with the bike and a few different things via your phone, which is really nice. So the Y Connect gives you the option to sort of know the bike a bit better and just have it all on your phone in one sort of spot. So it gives you the your average rev range, what kind of revs you're kind of sitting at. It gives you the maintenance schedules. It gives you a bit of a riding log, how long you've been riding for, service sort of intervals, but also manufacturer notes if there is anything that manufacturers recommend you do. Also on the dash it comes with an LCD screen at the front, but that also, the Y Connect means it does have a little bar at the top which shows you your messages, your incoming calls, and a little bit about what kind of, if you listen to music as well, sort of all at the top there, which is really quite nice. And right next to that you've got a USB A port, so you connect your phone right in, which also is great for charging. So if you do run like a quad lock or something, or a phone mount at the front of your bike, you can just connect it straight in to the USB type A, which means keep your phone topped up and charged. Now to sort of wrap up this video about the R3, I really just want to reiterate that Yamaha are an absolutely amazing brand. They've been making motorcycles since 1955, and from what I can tell with this bike, they really know what they're doing. It's just an absolute perler. And if you come down to First Class Motorcycles down here in Lilydale, we can sell you this bike for $9,349 right away, and that comes with 12 months reg, which means once you ride this thing out the door, you're ready to go for a whole year of an absolute blast fun riding. Also with this bike, they do come with quite a bit of accessories. If you would speak to one of the guys in spare parts, they'll be able to help you out. They do full Acura exhaust systems, pegs, windshields, tail tidies, you name it. Yeah, we can get it for the R3. So give us a call or jump on our website, a bit more of a visual there. But yeah, give us a call, speak to one of our sales guys, and we can get you on one of these brand new R3s as soon as possible. Thanks guys.